Hey everybody, Charles Calhoun, aka the Shadetree Pro. My wife parked the car a little bit close and I'm trying to get out of this shadow. But I want to kind of continue on something where I was telling you all about the hands behind the strike. Now, as I was talking said to the one guy, Derek, if you want to keep your hands go past the ball, that's fine. Because when I set up, because of the shape of the club, my hands are either even with or slightly behind or just ahead of the ball when I set up. And a lot of times I even, depending on it, I'll get them back. It goes back to something that Gabe Brewer had taught Freddie Couples. And he said one of the biggest things that they've learned about, swinging the golf club and causing the hooks and slices or whatever are these angles. So when Freddie Couples came to Gabe Brewer, Gabe Brewer, Masters champion, what Gabe Brewer did, and this is why Freddie Couples set up with his hands, like this. What they did, they broke that angle and started getting that club more in this condition here, because it allowed you to be able to swing the club down without dragging that angle. Now, if you see this red line that I have here that's coming out of the ball, and as you all have seen me, and I've talked about it and I said it, I don't look at the golf ball as so much as my target, as I'm looking at making sure when I swing the golf club, I am swinging through the ball or making a swing where the golf ball is getting in the way. Now, one of my little tricks that I do here for this visualization to feel that hand pulling back, and like I said, if you know top down and you know how I move the body, from the top down, it allows me to be able to pull my hands back as I strike. Matter of fact, it's the best way to do it because, like I said before in the videos, when you are thinking about trying to turn the hips to turn the body, and it's pretty much one-dimensional in my opinion, and you're trying to turn the hips to turn the body, ground up and all that, you have no other choice but to drag the hands through because the club, you're trying to make the club follow the body. Well, what this red line is just kind of like something, I used to do back on the farm and all that, how you using levers. So I'm not even concerned so much about the ball, so I can get the most leverage that I need to really pull that thing back. Just like bam, and get that strike, just like when you hit something, bam, really get that leverage. Is that I envision like whatever line, and I'm just using this one as an example, whatever line, whether it's a low shot or a high shot or whatever it is, whatever trajectory, you hear them talking about it, calling it dynamic loft or whatever. But whatever trajectory I'm looking for that ball to go off of, somebody said, how do I create my trajectories? Well, I'm getting ready to show you. And like I said, I'm just using this pretty much as this mid-angle launch area there. Using my creative visualization, what I do is I visualize wherever that ball, the angle or the loft that I want that ball to go off, I visualize a line coming out of that ball towards my target, and then my hands, I'm not concerned about the ball. What I'm concerned about that this line, quote unquote, becomes my target, and I know that if I want to hit it to that angle, on this angle, I know that I can't bring my hands to match that. What I am trying to do is even more so of keeping my hands, quote unquote, behind the ball, is that when I'm coming down here and I strike, I'm actually feeling my hands pull back. When I strike, boom, pull back. Like I said, that sensation of pulling back and striking because I'm throwing the club head through. And in the essence of that, look, when this club pulls back and it hits and strikes the ball, it's coming further away from the target line or the dynamic loft or whatever that we're creating. I'm not trying to match the dynamic loft. What I'm trying to do is create the other end, if you would look at it that way, which basically is part of the arc. So in other words, if you had a dynamic loft, in a sense that once that, like I'm just using this as an example, that if this right here extended all the way down to the ground of the loft, what I'm doing is just matching this part of the club up as the club head goes through. So I'm actually pulling my hands, striking it. I'm feeling my hands pull away, so the club can go through, pulling away. So in essence, I can make that ball, boom, fly. You know, it's creating a simple line of compression. And then it's just, and that's the visualizations that I use. I am not trying to do this. That's just regardless. If I'm trying to hit if say for an example, that this line was a low shot and I'm trying to hit a low shot, then guess what? I would sit here and boom, and I would pull my hand back as this club head goes through, in a sense, bam, you know, pulling it back, feeling that sensation back so I can hit it low. See, I still wouldn't be dragging it over here trying to hit it low. I could hit it low from there. I could turn it, maybe open up slightly and hit it high from there. I mean, it's so many different variables that you can learn from when you're able to swing your arms using the shoulder girdle, because the moment you try to turn your hips to make your arms do this or that, then what else? You're limited. You're limited. The lower body should react to be able to create. Our hands, that's the reason that we are artistic with our hands, to be able to draw, to write, to whatever. We learn to do that. The shoulder girdle or the shoulder socket is the most superior joint in the human body because it has full range of motion at all times. The hip socket, it doesn't have full range of motion unless I lift my foot up off the ground. And then once you jump off the ground, you've lost your stability and everything. So when I set up to a ball, I am actually feeling that dynamic loft line, if that's what they want to call it. I feel like I'm striking the club, and when I strike it, my hands come back away from the dynamic loft, as they call it, and the club face goes through the ball. Because what I'm trying to do is continue the swing, you know, through the strike. Not so much as the turn, because when I swing, my body's gonna follow it anyway. You know, that's just how it goes. If I turn my head and I look that way, then guess what? My body's gonna follow it. That's the nature of it. And we are gonna hit that ball and then we're gonna look down range and turn it. That's how it goes, people. I mean, that's just not something that I'm making up. Now, I use my creative visualization for a way to strike the ball better, and I've had phenomenal success with it. And I've had success teaching others how to do it, you know? And like I say, it speaks for itself. But as I said before, and I'll say it again, if you don't know top down, if you don't know what the shoulder girdle is, the movements of the shoulder girdle is, then it's very, very hard for you to argue about something that you don't understand, that you don't know. So you're not really in a position to really tell me what's right or wrong based on someone else's opinion or what they do, because I'm not doing what they do. That's what the mistake that a lot of people make understand. I'm not doing what they do. I have the shoulder girdle as a separate entity from the body cavity, and I have discovered so many serendipitous actions that make you go, wow, simply because the good dead finger grip, which I'm going to tell you all eventually something about what that dead finger grip does. It's a whole new level about proper angles and alignments. It's just crazy good, but that's another story for another time. But like I said, I am trying to create it to where wherever that dynamic loft line, whether it's high or low or whatever, I am trying to pull my hands back away from that dynamic loft line so I can throw the club head through the ball. And from my own personal experience, when I hit that ball, pulling my hands back, you know, off of whatever line I make, I either hit it high, low, whatever the deal is, and I can hit my little toe sweeper, I can hit my finger roll, you know, shot. Those are shots. Otis Griffin knows those shots. He saw them up close and personal. But these are the things that I'm doing. So I'm not making stuff up. I have put this to the test, and I've seen it work. I've had others do it that it worked. So, you know, it's up to you to make the decision what you want to do. But hey, top down is here. It's here to stay. It is not just me putting some pieces together about what's already out there. I don't agree with what's out there. That's why I wrote my own. Charles Calhoun, aka the Shadetree Pro, and you know how I do it, baby. Always good golf.